Bigfoot, Dogman, Jersey Devil, and others. Are they real misidentifications or the most cleverly disregarded reality of all time? Come into the cabin and sit down and let's try to find out together. Hey guys, welcome back to the cabin. I'm Robbie.
I'm Norman.
I'm Johnny.
How's it going, guys?
It's going great. Glad to be back.
Yeah, 2 weeks in a row that we've all three been together.
Definitely. And I'm looking forward to tonight's topic.
Yeah, we gave them a little teaser last time. A little Mandela Effect. So, Norman, explain the Mandela Effect to people out there who don't really know what that is or haven't heard of it.
We're going to go with the classic explanation. The Mandela Effect deals with, everybody's heard of Nelson Mandela. He was president of South Africa. Now, I recall this happening, that he died in the 1980s in prison.
Yep, I remember that too. Johnny, do you remember that? Or
Oh, yeah.
And then, but it never happened, supposedly. In this timeline, he did not die in prison, but he actually died in 2013 from after serving his time as the president of South Africa. I'm like, wait a minute, he died. How's he? I'm doing. Wait a minute, there's two different.
So what we're saying is Thanos really did do the snap.
Yes.
Now, I never finished that terrible movie. I fell asleep in the middle of it.
Now, some people have said this was because of CERN. But see, CERN officially never started until September 10th, 2008.
Yeah, and that's the point we hit on in the Ex Machina when we had our show on that, or on that show. But the question we posed is, nobody knows what the Higgs boson particle or God particle or whatever you want to call it. Nobody really knows what this thing is, what it does, what it did.
Or what it's doing.
Or what it's doing, yeah. So just because they started then, that doesn't mean that it couldn't have
somebody else was playing elsewhere.
Yeah, backed us up into another timeline that just,
There's some popular things about the Mandela Effect. You like peanut butter?
I love peanut butter.
You know Jiffy.
Jiffy.
It's now known as Jif.
It is or isn't known?
It's now known as Jif. It used to be known as Jiffy. I remember it being Jiffy, and then it becoming Jif.
I think I remember Jiffy too. Johnny, what do you remember?
I'm not near as old as y'all boomers, but I always thought it was just Jeff.
Wait a minute, I thought I was the baby of the group. And by baby, I mean, I use the term baby very loosely, folks. But
yeah, Jiffy. Jiffy is Jif, but I remember it being Jiffy.
Well, another one that and this is one that I will personally die on a hill for. There's always the big popular Star Wars one, and I'm sure you've probably got that one that you'll mention. But I'm going to use the one that's probably a little bit less popular, was C-3PO. What color was C-3PO, Johnny? You remember?
Oh, yeah, all gold. Every bit of them gold.
Norman?
I remember him being all gold.
So do I. But according to everything else, supposedly he was all gold except for one of his legs was silver.
I recall him being all gold.
Yep.
Now, I do remember that he got blown apart in
the second or third movie?
Return of the Empire.
Yeah.
Or Return of the Empire. Empire Strikes Back.
Exactly.
I'm combining Return of the Empire or Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back. Empire Strikes Back, he got blown apart, and Chewie was trying to put him back together. Now, maybe during that movie there was but
that's what I'm
New
going to go
Hope.
with.
A New Hope, he was all gold.
Mm-hmm. Well, in the 1977 release, was that the New Hope?
Yeah, New Hope was the very first one that came. Okay. That wasn't the actual first one in the. We could probably do, another 2 or 3 shows on just Star Wars, but that was George Lucas's favorite, and that's the one he wanted to do because he didn't think any of them were going to make any money, and that's the one he was his favorite. He liked it the most, so he did that one, and obviously super popular, and here we are.
Yep.
But that was the very first one that all of us from our age group and our generation remembers going and seeing it in the theaters and watching and all that.
You know, you're talking about movies. Here's one for you. You remember the movie Silence of the Lambs?
Yes, I do.
There's a line in it where Lecter goes, "Hello, Carice."
Mm-hmm.
But it's supposedly, "Good morning, Carice," now.
I'm pretty sure I remember Hello, Clarice.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what I remember. But supposedly it's "Good morning, Carice" now. How you like that?
See, these are one, and another one that blows my mind. This was another one we talked about. Very popular cartoon from our day.
Looney Tunes.
Well,
Oh,
not that one yet.
Flintstones.
Flintstones. Was it FLINTSTONES or FLINSTONES?
I'll have to go with Flint with the T.
Right. And Johnny, what is Flint?
Yeah, it's a rock. It's a yeah.
And and what was the name of the town that they lived in? Bedrock.
Bedrock, yeah.
Yeah. And
He worked at a quarry.
he worked at the quarry.
Flint.
Barney
sense.
Rubble, Mr. Slade. I mean, everything was about rocks. So why in the world?
Would you go with Flynn instead of Flint?
But according to some of the things, that's what that is now, is FLINSTONES, which makes zero sense. And then now what you were talking about with the other one. Now this one I don't really remember that one, but you go ahead with the other cartoon one.
All right, Looney Tunes. Now, is it TOONS or TUNES?
I thought it was TOONS.
That's what I remember. I'll swear on my dying grave. It was Looney Tunes, TOONS, not TUNES.
So I'm assuming that they're saying it is TUNES now.
The only reason I could think it'd be Tunes now was because of the movie. But that's my opinion. Now here's one your daughter will know. Pikachu.
We had this discussion, and she is of the without the black on his tail.
I honestly remember seeing it with the black.
I do too, but she says no, he didn't have black on his tail. I'm like, what?
Curious George.
I have to plead the fifth on that one. I don't remember anything about those. That was
The only thing I remember was no tail, but originally he supposedly had a tail.
I remember a tail.
I was never a big Curious George fan. I watched G.I. Joe and Transformers and stuff like that. I didn't
Well, I'm
watch.
a little bit older than you, so
No, I know who Curious George is. I'd never watched it. I was just not that stuff like that didn't hold my attention. You had to be blowing something up or
this is books.
Fighting.
I was reading the books. I never watched the episode, but I actually read the books when
no,
I
I
was
didn't
in
read the
school.
books either. I didn't start reading until later in life anyway. I mean,
Come on, Penthouse don't count.
well, yeah, I read it for the articles,
The advertisement.
Yeah. A lot of factual articles in literature like that.
That's what they say.
I'm kidding. I don't.
Okay.
Moving on.
You like popular games.
Yeah.
Monopoly.
Mm-hmm.
Now, supposedly, the money man had a monocle, and now he don't. I recall him having a monocle.
I mean, think of Ace Ventura 2: Pet Detective, the movie where he got the little guy said, "Yeah," he said, "Yeah, and you must be the Monopoly guy." That guy had a monocle.
Exactly.
Yep.
So we're saying Jim Carrey believes that it was the way we're believing too.
Now, one might have to go and check the movie to see if there's a change in the reference.
That might be some investigative work we might have to do. Watch the movie.
Well, let me ask y'all this one. How many of y'all ever had deja vu?
Oh, I've had that plenty of times.
Oh yeah.
Now, there's a theory behind deja vu. That's when you supposedly cross a timeline.
Really?
That deja vu is you crossing a timeline, which would probably explain part of the Mandela Effect, where some of us recall these events and other people can see this because they were on a different timeline than, say, you and I. And when we had the deja vu, it meant we crossed over into a new timeline. So everything that we knew on the previous timeline may now be different. That's a theory with the Mandela Effect.
And I know we're making jokes about movies and things like that, and I know Johnny said he didn't make it through the awful Avengers movie, but there was a line in that movie. They get to talking about time travel and things like that, and the little joke was made. So you mean Back to the Future was wrong, and the Professor Hulk, I'd never thought about it this way. And I know it's a stupid line from a stupid movie, but it makes sense. He said, you can't go back and change the past because the past is the past. If you go back to the past, that becomes your future. Mm-hmm. So you're not affecting what has already happened because that is now your future because you're still going forward in whatever timeline that you're on. You may turn and go back in a different direction, but you are still moving forward in your own
timeline.
Your own path on the timeline or your own timeline. You're moving still essentially forward. You're just going to a different location than everybody else that was moving beside you is basically the way I understand it. When you start talking about all the stuff we're talking about, that line starts making a little bit more sense.
Truth in some movies.
Well, as we've said many times before, always a little grain of truth in there. Mm-hmm. And Einstein proved that time travel is possible.
Yes, he did.
And I've seen the pictures. Have y'all seen the pictures? The old black and whites with people who look like they have cell phones.
Yeah,
that's popped up 4 times, like this week on YouTube and my Googles.
Yeah, time travelers.
Yeah. Could these pictures be photoshopped? Obviously, especially in this day and age, yeah. But all this stuff has really just started coming. Even though that stuff, it happened back in 2013. Is that what you said when they did it?
The 2000. What's Tony doing here? Hold on a minute. Tony dropped on my time thing. September 10th, 2008.
2008.
2013 is when Mandela died.
Okay. I knew there was a 13 in there somewhere. But anyway, this stuff started in 2008, but we really didn't start talking about it till here recently. So is it possible that the lines were just like running almost parallel with each other? Then they kind of started splitting off a little bit around the time that we're at right now, and that's when we started noticing different things.
Do you recall the Philadelphia experiment that happened during World War II?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that was supposed to be a thing in invisibility, but some say it turned into a time travel event.
I've heard that.
And so we can go back further than from CERN to the possibility of a temporal disruption with the Philadelphia event. Now, if they did it one time, the government doesn't do anything one time. They're going to do it repeatedly. Atomic bomb testing, H-bomb testing proves it.
Yeah.
Aircraft going up, just because they say they don't do it no more doesn't mean they don't. And if they did it one time, somebody went and took it out to a secret lab, stuck it in a cave, and started playing with it some more. And this might be your forefather of CERN.
True. And, this is probably something else we could do another episode on. That why have we only gone to the moon one time?
Oh, that's a totally different can of worms.
I know, but like what you just said, there's no reason that we should have only gone one time.
I've read a U.S. Army Project Horizon to build a base on the moon. Mm-hmm. Who said it didn't get built?
Exactly. I mean, so all of this stuff that CERN with the God particle, even though that's the only one we know that actually was activated, we know that there's 3 or 4 more that are as big and maybe 1 or 2 bigger than that collider.
Oh, that reminds me. The first atomic explosion can also be considered a disruption in time. Almost forgot about that, because they say the energy involved could cause a ripple as well.
I can see that. I mean, the force it takes to rip an atom apart, is
is horrendous.
That's why it's called a megaton bomb. I mean,
I got one for you both before I forget. When the first space shuttle exploded, what year did it explode?
I'm gonna say it was like 85-ish, somewhere around in there. 86 maybe.
86, 87.
Okay, happened January 28th, 1986. Because the reason I know that, I was in basic training. There is some people on the web that says it actually occurred in 1983, 84.
No. My brother was born in 1982.
I was
and
a
it had already
freshman in
happened.
high school.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's another
And I was-
Mandela effect, and I didn't know that.
I think I was in 7th grade when it happened. 6th or 7th grade.
I was disassembling an M16. I remember exactly where I was at.
See, we know who the older one is now, Johnny.
Boomer.
But yeah, that is also part of the Mandela effect history. That actually happened. Some people say it actually happened in 83, 84 instead of 86.
You know, and if you get online and you Google Mandela Effect, you're going to get all these, the most popular
Exactly.
ones that people talk about. But there are, I would say, venture to say there's probably hundreds more that have just, you know. Like one of my favorites, and this is another one that I'll die on the hill. Jaws is one of my all-time favorite movies. You know what Roy Scheider's line was when he walked?
We need a bigger boat.
Yep.
Is that what y'all remember?
We're going to need a bigger boat.
Yeah, we're going to need a bigger boat. According to the Mandela Effect stuff, it says you're going to need a bigger boat, which to me makes no sense. No. They're all three out on the boat. Why would you, who was on the boat, go in there and look at the guy and say, you're going to need a bigger?
Because he's the captain of the boat.
You're standing here too.
Yeah.
3 men on the same boat.
Yeah. So, I mean, and they're all out in the middle of the ocean. So why would that? And that's the most popular ad-lib line in movie history. Mm-hmm. Because that line was not in the script anywhere. No. Roy Scheider completely there was a lot of ad-libbing in Jaws. Jaws was just one of those.
There's a good story behind that.
That was a lightning in the bottle movie. I don't think there'll ever be another movie that captured everything like that movie did. So to say that a line like that was totally ad-libbed by Roy Scheider, which a lot of Quint's speech about the Indianapolis was ad-libbed. He actually rewrote that speech. The first time he gave it, anybody knows anything about Robert Shaw, he loved his alcohol. Mm-hmm. And the first time he did the take, he was sloshed. And him and Richard Dreyfuss really didn't like each other. So a lot of that tension on the movie between them and their two characters was real. But they were like, man, it's a great speech, but so he said, all right, give me just a little bit. I'll come back and do it. And he come back and he did it deadpan and nailed it. And arguably that's one of the best speeches given by anybody in a movie, in my opinion. I mean, when he starts talking about the Indianapolis, I mean, I right now thinking about that get cold chills. Yeah. Because that was just like, wow.
Let me ask you another one about food. Is it Oscar Mayer or Oscar Mayer?
Mayer?
That's what I grew up with. Meyer. But it's Mayar now.
Huh. Back to Jaws real quick. Have you ever seen the UFOs in the backdrop?
Yep.
The first night that Roy Schneider's on the deck. This is the night of the sheep shank tying and the beers.
Yeah, right after they put the first barrel in.
No, I never noticed that.
Yeah, that actually got to be a thing in Steven Spielberg movies, because if you go back and you watch a lot of his movies now, and they obviously Jaws was his first movie, so if that was caught, that was truly caught, but they accused him of starting to manufacture that, because if you go look at like Raiders of the Lost Ark, what's some other movies, Johnny, that you can, when you see a night scene like that, you'll see shooting stars or UFOs or whatever it is. But what Johnny's talking about is when it shows that broadside of the orca, when they're getting ready to do their little show me the way to go scene. There's two UFO shooting stars, whatever they are.
There's a red one and a blue one.
Yeah. They go left to right, I believe, Johnny.
From right to left.
Or right to left. Over the top of the top of the ship.
And they go behind Roy Schneider's character, or him, and you see them like go behind him and come out the other side of him. That's like,
never knew that.
And it's wicked fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go back and watch the movie. in that part. It's why I think I saw them before, but I thought that I just like everybody else assumed it was just they were out there shooting and they caught a couple of shooting stars, which is possible. But that actually, like I said, that became a thing with Spielberg. Anytime he shot a scene like that at night, even in some of his later movies, E.T., I think they did it in E.T. too, and he started putting that in there because of how much
attention it generated.
Yeah, how much attention it generated in Jaws.
I'll have to keep an eye on that.
So, this Mandela Effect, and like you said, it's named for Nelson Mandela, but it's really in everything.
Yeah,
we've named TV shows, food items, movie lines. Something we didn't name, Fruit of the Looms.
Yes.
Do y'all remember the?
Yes, I do. I remember the cornucopia.
Cornucopia. Couldn't think of the word, but what about you, Johnny? Do you remember that, or was it just a bunch of fruit?
Oh, the Fruit of the Loom thing?
Yeah.
Definitely had the cornucopia.
Yeah, I do. I remember it too. But you can't even go back and find old stuff now.
I'm telling you, they're scrubbing the web.
Yeah.
This, do you remember the Snow White thing?
Which Snow White thing?
The evil queen.
Oh, I know which one he's about.
Mirror, mirror on the wall.
There was something in there.
I've been listening to this since the 70s when I was, much younger than y'all. And, but magic mirror on the wall? That don't roll off the tongue.
Yeah.
That's complicated.
Yeah.
It was mirror, mirror on the wall.
I've always heard mirror, mirror on the wall.
Who's the prettiest one of all?
Who's the fairest of them all, whatever. But now they're saying, yes, magic mirror on the wall.
No.
There's a couple other Disney ones in there too that I was just like, what? I can't remember what they are off the top of my head, but which I think Disney, I think they like some of this drama.
Oh yeah,
and they like.
Oh God! I just now seen something here. Tom Cruise's sunglasses from Risky Business.
Yes, I remember that one too.
I remember sunglasses.
He had Ray-Bans.
Yeah,
Ray-Ban Wayfarers.
And it was there was a picture even with him wearing the Ray-Bans. I remember it because I seen that movie.
Yeah, because that was like, I remember somebody saying something like it was a tagline, or it was like when Risky Business came up, catch Tom Cruise the first time he ever wore a pair of aviators. Or when Tom Cruise wore aviators before Top Gun.
Or Sinbad.
Yeah.
In the movie Shazam.
Yes. The movie Shazam starring Sinbad.
I recall it. I remember seeing it, and I once tried looking for it and I never could find it.
Somebody on DA's show said that they had a copy of it. And DA said, if you've got a copy of that, please send it to us. I hadn't heard anything about that yet. I'd like to know because he said, I have a copy of that. I'd like to see it. Because, what's said about that is you're confusing the movie that Shaquille O'Neal was in called Kazam. But I remember the movie Kazam was Shaquille O'Neal in it, but I also remember the other movie.
Yeah.
With Sinbad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Sinbad was at the peak of his acting career, doing a lot of movies.
And here's the opposite. The way when you look at it, people remembering things differently. Sinbad says he was never in that movie. Said there was never a movie made like that, and he wasn't in that movie. But going back to the Star Wars thing, when Luke and Darth are in the fighting up in Cloud City, and Darth reveals the big secret to him, what do you remember him saying?
Luke, I am your father.
Johnny, what do you remember?
Definitely that.
Which, same thing that I remember. Of course, they say that the line is like, no, I'm your father.
Exactly.
But here's the funny part about that. They've interviewed James Earl Jones, and he says that the line he said was, Luke, I am your father. And remember when we were talking about the Ace Ventura thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's bring in another. This is how my mind works on this stuff. Both of y'all seen Tommy Boy?
Yes.
Chris Farley?
Yes.
I never have.
Okay. You've seen it though, right?
Yes,
Norm?
I did.
When he gets his office back at the brake company, Callahan, and David Spade walks in on him, and he's sitting there playing with a fan. Do you remember what he was saying?
Luke, I am your father.
Luke, I am your father.
Yes.
Okay, so Jim Carrey and Chris Farley both remember those movies happening the way we're talking about, but yet they didn't happen that way.
Now I'm going to have to go watch Tommy Boy
So
to see if
now,
it's changed.
now you're looking at like Inception type stuff. Mm-hmm. You're looking at Mandela effects within Mandela effects.
Exactly.
Boys, this is weird stuff if you think about it.
Especially if you got possible physical evidence.
Mm-hmm. But we're about 25 minutes in, and I know we could go another 25 minutes, but
we can always do a part 2 sometime in
Yeah.
the future. This is always a good subject to talk about.
And who knows what else is going to come out between now and the time we do another one. So
Exactly.
Johnny, you got anything else?
My head hurts.
Johnny, your head always hurts.
You make me think too much.
Norm, you got anything else?
No, I think we had a good subject tonight.
Yeah. I really agree. This is one of those things that you could speculate and talk and argue and not argue and agree and not. Because if you take 15 or 20 people and put them in a room, statistically, some of them are going to remember it one way and some of them are going to remember it another. Mm-hmm. How do you quantify that?
So the ones that remember it one way, I say we've crossed over the timeline.
Mm-hmm. But we hope you enjoyed that episode, folks. If you've got anything on the Mandela Effect or anything, I know we've kind of been straying away from some of our cryptid stuff here lately. I think next couple episodes I want to try to do some more cryptid stuff. Don't know what we're going to do our next episode. I know usually we give you a teaser or an update, but I want to kind of go back to some cryptid stuff because we've been like last 6 episodes. I think we've been doing
everything but.
So
I'll see if I can get some people in here for that hide behind.
Okay, that'd be good. I think I've got a line on maybe possibly a haunted location that we can go and do an investigation at. I'll get with you after the show.
There's a paramedic I want to talk to spend some time in Alaska, and I want to see if he might have run into anything up there, and if he'd be willing to share.
Alaska's a hot spot with everything.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Still like to get Fred on the show at some point. But guys, if you got anything you want us to investigate, anything you want us to look into, you got a story you want it read, or you want to come on the show and talk your story about it, we've got an email, which is what's really out there 2022. That's what's really out there 2022@gmail.com. Get in touch with us. Shoot us a message with it on it. Leave us your number. Norm can get in touch with you, and we can set something up, either getting you on the show or setting up logistically how we can get to wherever you need us to get to. We try to stick in South Carolina, but
we're here for you.
Yeah, things can happen. You never know. We might can make a road trip somewhere. Who knows? But
I want that road trip to Florida to visit Anthony's friend
with
the Bigfoot problem.
We're still working on that one because he's still having the problem. I talked to Anthony the other day, and the guy's still having the problem. So I don't think it's something that's going to go away.
I think that'll be a great field investigation and bringing in a couple cryptid groups that we are associated with.
And we got a few more people, some of the people that we had on the last couple of shows that are
might be interested in one that we want to bring in that's a sensitive and see how she reacts to the area.
Yeah, and these may not be people that are going to be on the show all the time, but they're definitely going to be part of our team, which invariably makes them a part of DAX Machina too, because we're more or less a small offshoot of DAX Machina, because Norm and I both, we both co-host on that show too.
We both support his mission and his books, which are freaking awesome.
Yep.
Look up D.A. Roberts, codename Wild Hunt.
Yep. Especially the new one that's coming out.
Because you have a small personal part in it, is it?
No, they're all awesome. They're all awesome. Just the new one's going to be really good.
Well, I could say that starting with book number 2.
Yes, you could. But see, remember, I pointed out that you were in a book you didn't even remember that you were in.
And that old age
See,
thing.
that's what happens, Johnny. He gets so famous, his characters in all these books. It's like, oh, well, I've been in this. I said, no, you was in this one too. I was? I'm like, yeah. Huh, well, I didn't know. That's what happens when you get famous.
Hey, were you the EMT in the Ragnarok, first book?
No, actually, I wasn't. I didn't meet DA until after Ragnarok, and he was talking about doing a spin-off of short stories.
Your character started in Wendigo,
Yeah.
Yeah, he started in Call of the Wendigo, and he was in Lakeview Man, First Duty. Mm-hmm. He is back because I think
I was in the Apex Hunter one where Grey Eagle disappears.
Yep.
So I've appeared in some of his books.
Yeah, I think our characters have had an interaction already. Or like we were both standing there, and you laughed at something I said. I can't remember how.
I have to read.
It was like 5 o'clock. It was like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning when I read it. So
I haven't read the full thing yet. I know he's put out a new update.
Yeah, he's updated some stuff.
Trying to read it on my phone is not the world's best place in the world to do.
Yeah, we're alpha readers, so we get to help him kind of tidy everything up, neaten everything up. So it's pretty cool to help out with that stuff.
Yeah, and he gets some interesting ideas from his alpha readers. I know every time I talk to him, sometimes I'll throw something at him and say, "Damn it, Norman, you just gave me something else to write." I was just talking. I didn't mean to influence you, but yeah, I've wound up influencing him a few times.
Yeah. Well, you influenced him into a whole book, it seems like, too.
Man's Marauders, yes.
Or actually a whole series of books.
Yes.
Because that was not the first one.
No. So. Man's Marauders was...
Or that was not the last one, let's put it that way. That was the first one, it's not the last.
Is one that I had a lot of influence on.
All right, guys. Well, if we don't shut up, Norm, we're going to talk all night. We're already at 30 minutes, so I know everybody's got stuff we got to do. But, guys, what's really out there, 2022@gmail.com. Shoot us an email. Give us a message. We'll get in touch with you, get you on the show, do whatever you need to do. Read your story. You can remain anonymous. Johnny, you got anything?
Send some stuff in. Give us some new angles to go down.
Yeah.
Folks, remember, be safe. You go out in the woods, take a first aid kit. Let people know where you're going. Let somebody know what
Dark
you're going to
Angel
do.
Medical.
Definitely, we support Dark Angel Medical. Privately owned, veteran-owned group.
Yep, Doc will hook you up. I got one of his kits on my duty vest that I wear every day. Complete and 100%. If you use one of his kits to save your life or the life of somebody else, you send the kit back to him, the unused parts, of course. Don't send him the parts that you use. That's kind of gross. But you send that back to him, kit for life guarantee. He will restock your kit and get it back to you. You're not going to find a better deal than that anywhere. He's got a kit for everything, and he's got a cool name to go with just about every kit that he's got.
He does.
Go get you some of that. If you need to do your research, go look up DA's books. That'll give you your research for what you're going and looking after or looking for. And that's enough of the shameful plugging.
And anytime you need some help, feel free to reach out to us because we are here for you. We know we want you to unburden your soul. If you need someone to talk to, we're not here to laugh at you, mock you, but to be your support.
All right. If y'all ain't got anything else, that's going to be it from the cabin, guys. Thanks for coming tonight. See you later.
See you later.
We're out.